welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I got a story titled, Am I the A-hole for ruining my parents' marriage by finding my biological father and exposing my mother's lies? And a shout out to Eric for sending this story. And guys, this story is really going to show just how stoic and good men, fathers can be, and how awful and self-centered women can be, mothers can be. Not all, but certainly a lot, and many are certainly capable of it. This is about a guy who's 19 years old, and his whole life's gone upside down after discovering some major revelations about his life, both about his father, biological father, and his mother. And I could say more here, but it would spoil the story, so I'm just going to let it go. But let's just say here, this guy's going through a lot, and this mother here, she is right up there with some of the worst mothers of all time. Holy crap. And she is getting what's coming to her. So it starts off, says here, I'm 19 years old, and I knew my dad wasn't my biological dad, and it was never a huge deal for me. I knew I was loved either way. Mom always told us my biological father hadn't wanted to be a dad and walked away once he learned that she was pregnant. Okay, here we go. From childhood. This young guy learned your real father didn't want anything to do with you, and he was awful. Okay, how many times has that story been, sold to people? When I was 12 years old, I started struggling with health issues, and we repeatedly asked for family medical background. Mom swore that she reached out to my biological father for insight on his side, but he refused to give it. At the time, we were told it would be ideal to find out more if we could, but if not, we would do our best to treat me. Okay, so this young guy's growing up thinking his biological dad, his real dad, wants nothing to do with him, wouldn't even help with health problems. Well, of course, his good, loving mother will do anything she could to help her boy. My dad and I talked about it. This is his stepdad. My stepdad, I talked about it a lot, and he comforted me when I was upset that the guy who made me hated me so much that he wouldn't even help me with a medical problem. It meant added complications and always having to explain to new doctors I was referred to. I only had half of my family's medical history and could not get any more. And it really just sucked to think that he cared so little if it could be seriously ill or not. Yeah, that definitely would suck. My real dad doesn't care, even if I'm sick and could potentially die here. But my mom loves me. Well, a year ago, my aunt, my mom's sister, told me that things might not be like they seemed, and maybe it'd be a good idea to search for answers myself. Really, Auntie? That's strange, given that I'm 19, you're just mentioning this now. Maybe she was doing it once he was a legal adult, I don't know. She said the worst that could happen is that he refuses to give any answers and gets mad at me for making contact. I asked her what she meant about things not being what they seemed, but she was tight-lipped, so I did the 23andMe. I ended up matching with a paternal aunt, and from there, Mom's lies were exposed to me. Lies? He thought he had this amazing mom. Well, watch this. My paternal aunt was shocked to learn about me, and she told me that she was 100% certain that her brother had no idea either. She was a go-between for us at first to help set up contacting and a face-to-face meeting. So what he's saying here is that apparently his biological dad sounds like had no idea about him at all. Meanwhile, his mom swore that she was reaching out to him. It was all a lie. And by the way, this aunt of his on his mother's side, she knew about this the whole time. This poor kid is just surrounded by these awful people. Well, when my biological father and I met, he had my medical information waiting for me, and he told me that it was a thing I inherited from his side of the family, and he would be a donor if I ever needed one. Holy crap. This guy is an amazing guy. Immediately, boom, I'll be a donor if you need me. Never even met this young guy. I don't think he ever knew he was born. He was also apologizing the whole time for not knowing me, and he swore he was never told my mom was pregnant. When they were younger, they broke up because she cheated, and he never heard from her again or her sister, the aunt who pushed me to search for him. And he also got along with my aunt during his relationship with my mother. The medical information helped, and I told him I have way more questions once I process this whole thing. Holy crap. The entire time this guy's life, his mom's lying to him. She cheated and ruined the relationship. And then she went on to this guy's stepdad, who married a single mom, which was dumb, but this stepdad's a good guy. She would rather her kid not get the medical care he needed, the information he needed, to protect her lies, to keep her from looking bad. Does this surprise anybody here? Now, of course, not all would do this, of course, but it's an example of just how self-centered some women can be. Then I went to talk to my mom. At first, she said it was all lies. Holy crap! Even now she can't admit it. Then I asked why I searched without saying anything, and when I told her why she admitted it was true. She said she met my dad after the guy she cheated on, my biological father, was left her, and she came up with a lie so we could be a normal family. And she never told my biological about me, even after I got sick, because she wanted to keep things as they were. In other words, to protect her image. That's what it was all about. And you know what, I might add, his aunt knew about this the whole time, even when he needed medical help. Anybody might think that, his aunt is the big hero here for pointing him in the direction of his dad. No, she knew the whole fucking time. This kid, who knows what medical condition he had, but he could have died. Unbelievable. I was hurt, but so was my dad, his stepdad. He was mad that she denied my biological father and me the chance to know each other. Oh yeah, that too. But also that she lied to him the whole time that they had known each other. It felt like she made him complicit in keeping me and my biological father apart. And he was super angry. She was willing to make my health suffer and be more difficult because I didn't have the full background, rather than do the right thing and expose her lies from years ago for my sake. Of course she's not going to do it for her boy here. Women and accountability. And again, they're not all like this, but God almighty. I've been doing this too long. I've lived too long and seen a lot of awful shit. Well, the medical information I got was actually very helpful for my medical team, so it was worth it all in that sense. But it has ruined my relationship with my mom, and my parents' marriage is over. Oh darn, couldn't happen to a nicer woman. My stepdad wants a divorce and already moved out of the house. My siblings blame me for it because they know what went down between us all. Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole. Now I'd be smacking him, but he's 19 going through hell, so I'm going to save him a smacking. His siblings, who are obviously younger than him as a result of his mother and stepdad. Oh, by the way, if I'm his stepdad, I'd be very curious if his kids are actually his. Since this mother has a history of cheating, but putting that aside, the younger siblings are blaming him because this guy telling the story is an easy target. He's their stepbrother, and they don't want to believe their mother is an awful person, even though this guy telling the story made it clear. No, it's easier to blame him. Bullshit. But I would maybe give your step siblings some time to cool off because they're young, teenagers no doubt. But if it goes on too long, I had nothing to do with them. No, you're not the a-hole here. Your mother is a train wreck. She is the a-hole. She jeopardized your health and your life potentially because she wanted to cover up her lie and didn't want anybody to think she was a big cheater and all that. She's an awful person, and she robbed your biological father knowing his son. I think it's great that this young guy now has a chance to have a relationship with his biological father. The mystery of his background, his health, is now being solved. And this guy can have a relationship with his stepdad. Certainly his stepdad should have never married his mother and the single mom. But what happened, and this guy's a good guy. But of course this guy should divorce her, And I might add, find out if his kids are his. But, we're not done yet, guys, because as you can imagine, a story like this got a hell of a lot of comments and more information. So I'm going to read comments that people say, questions, comments, and this young guy here responds, shedding more light on the story here. One guy says to him, not the a-hole. What your mom did is awful and extremely selfish. She literally lied to everyone and denied your biological father a relationship with you and vice versa. I hope you can talk to your siblings, and I'm sure they'll understand at some point. This is not your fault, and these consequences, they're the consequences of your mother's actions. And the young guy who wrote the story says, right now my siblings are refusing to talk to me, even with Dad telling them it's not my fault. They say it's because if I had left it alone, nobody else would know, and our family would be happy. Dad's trying to stop that mindset, but they're not changing their minds on this. Little teenage asshats. Well, again, I guess I'm in a kind of forgiving mood this morning here and Florida. But because they're young and they're teenagers and all that, and the hormones and all that shit, I give them a little time. But this keeps up. I have nothing to do with little asshats. See, it's easier to make him the bad guy because he's the wicked stepbrother. Because they probably don't consider him the real family. You know, they consider that the mother, who's awful, fucking Mama Fratelli from fucking Goonies, that's who she is, and their dad, the real family. This young guy here, so it's easier to blame him. I give him a little time, but that's that. Another comment, this guy says, that's very selfish of them considering of your health issues. It was medically important for you to reach out to him. If it was them, they would have done the same. It's easy to be all high and mighty when you aren't the one with the health at stake. And he responds, my dad tried pointing that out to them, but it did nothing. They said I didn't need to live. I didn't need the information to live. What are these teenagers? Medical doctors? They know better than fucking medical doctors? Oh, okay. Typical teenagers that know everything. Oh, they got Google. They got AI. Did AI fucking tell them that? But that wasn't true either. We didn't know if mine was the one that could quickly turn life-threatening or not. Now we know, and it's literally life-saving for me because we know mine is that one. Another one. This guy says, this is longer here. Not the a-hole. Your mom put her own comfort above your well-being. Your ongoing health has been impacted so that she didn't get found out. If I was your dad, not your biological dad, I wouldn't be able to stay with someone who risked your life that way. I'm not surprised he's taken it so seriously. Your mother had all the answers right in front of her, and she chose herself. Yes, that's the worst part. So much for loving your child. Your biological dad, I'm sure he's gutted, not only for missing out on being your father, but also that you spent your life thinking that he had also little regard for you. What your mom did may have been a split-second decision, but she perpetuated the lie, reinforced it, and put you at risk. Yeah, and so did the aunt. Let's not forget the aunt here. Clearly when he was 18, that's when she nudged him in the direction. She could have said something. Nope. Maybe there are some legal issues there, but I doubt that. I would like to add, none of this is anybody's fault but your mother's. Although honorable mention to the aunt, who also knew and didn't speak up when her nephew's health was at risk. On the plus side, you did more of a solid route forwards with your health, biological dad who's happy you exist, and a father who, when faced with his wife's ability to lie and negatively affect your life, decided he couldn't stand her selfishness. I'm sorry for the pain this has caused you. None of you deserve it except your mother. She deserves more for putting you through the years of medical issues that could have been managed much sooner. Yes, all those years of that crap. Best of luck, OP, and your dad managed to stay strong and get through all this. And he says here, the young guy, he says, my dad is still coming to terms with the fact that she chose herself over me. She chose to keep that big secret, knowing getting more medical info could be huge for me. He said it kills him because he would have reached out himself if he suspected that she was lying, but he believed her. Well, remember, this stepdad here, who is a good man, we're not going to deny that, is the sucker that got involved with a single mom. I rest my case. The young guy also says, my biological father is still coming to terms with the truth like me. He seems like a great guy, and his sister is really nice. He did tell me that mom would have known without a doubt he would have helped, and even more, he would have stepped up if he was told about me. To know that she instead lied and made him sound like a monster who would let his own son die, his words, has been a big thing for him to work through. But I can already tell he's not that guy, and my dad appreciates my biological father for what he's done for me already. Couple more. One guy says, you're not the a-hole. If the revelation of your mom's deception destroys her marriage, then it wasn't a marriage worth having. I have no idea what your mom was thinking, but you had a right to know your father and a right to know your medical history. You are not the a-hole in the story, not in any way. And finally, the young guy says, I think she was thinking she didn't want to share custody of me. Then she didn't want her secret getting out because that was more important than my health. Yes, protecting her lives. Oh, what? She didn't want to share custody? Was it better losing her son, dying, than her not sharing custody with a good man? Holy crap. No, this mother deserves everything she gets. If I'm this young guy and I get his life turned upside down, I would have nothing to do for that mother from that point on. I'd have a relationship with the stepfather because he's a great guy. I would have, obviously, build a relationship with his biological dad who wants to obviously know him, even though this is all kind of crazy now. And as for the younger brother and sister, the half-brother and half-sister, I think earlier I said stepbrother, I didn't mean that, half-brother and half-sister, because I'm in a particularly merciful mood this morning, I would say maybe give it a little time. But if they hold on to that story, they probably will. I'd have nothing to do with little fuckers too, because the mother ruined it. But it's so easy. It's always so easy to blame the guy or any guy in a situation, to blame some crying woman who's having an emotional meltdown, who did all sorts of awful things. So she's an awful mother. She gets what she deserved. And I hope all these guys have a very good life afterwards. But my God. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you find a good story you want me to cover, send it my way. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.